YouTube. I had initially wanted to do a video demonstrating the flash gun I had mentioned a couple of videos ago. It's going to be a handheld, I think you can see that, a handheld electronic ignition flash gun that was fueled by flash powder. And this is the body of it assembled. However, I was having trouble, and still am, with reliable ignition. That's what all this is about. So it occurred to me that I could do something else. So I decided to do a thing on the Canon EOS, primarily the 650. I was at a local fair recently, and before they opened, and I had one of my old Pentax Spotmatics SPs with me, and I was using a yellow filter, and those are awesome cameras. I love to shoot with them. However, they're a lot of work, and you realize that when you don't have a young man's eyes anymore. I don't have one of the Spotmatics down here with me right now. The Spotmatic, that particular model, you have a switch next to the lens. You click on to make the light meter work, so you can set your light setting. I got the correct batteries for it. But in order to focus, in order for me to focus, I have to turn the light meter off. I have to set the focus, and those have prism focusing, and I never liked prism focusing anyhow. I prefer split image, but be that as it may. So you have to focus, turn the thing on, set your light meter, and hope that you haven't somehow shifted yourself a little bit to throw your focus back off. Anyhow, it's a lot of work. And I wasn't feeling like really doing a lot of work that day. But I got a bunch of good shots of the fairgrounds before it opened, and it was a great day. It was a beautiful day. Anyhow, on days when you just want to shoot film, you don't want to work for it, you just want to point and shoot, I bought myself a couple of old Canon EOSs. This happens to be a 650. These hit the market in the late 80s, 87 I think, and they're a do-all, be-all camera, and they were a big deal in their day. I'm not going to go into the features. There's a million videos already on YouTube about all the features that these things have, and they are stuffed with features. The best for me is the automatic focus. It has partial metering, a partial meter light meter, I think that's how it is, where you can focus on a single point, and it'll set the light meter according to that point, regardless of the background lighting, which is kind of nice, especially if you're in a theater or something and you're watching your kids or somebody else's kids or your grandkids, you know, doing whatever they do on stage, and they're under lights so that a single person or persons are lit up. And if you want to capture that without the surrounding area altering your light meter, it's kind of a handy feature. This one can also do multiple frame exposures, similar to a motor drive, but not exactly. You could set everything on this thing. It really is amazing. It's automatic focus. Has a pseudo motor drive in it, which is kind of neat in that you get this is a Elan. This came later, but it's very similar. You probably can't see that, but inside here is a cogged belt that drives all the doodads and whatchamacallits in there that do your automatic load. They automatic load, the automatic rewind, the frame advance, all of it. So you got the steel plate, and there's a bunch of gears and wheels and bells and whistles under there, all driven by a cogged belt. And it's kind of cool. This one happens to be busted. It's got a lot of shutter issues, and I think what actually happened is something down in here melted because the shutter is picking up crud from the bottom somewhere. In any case, I got myself a couple of these. I got them real cheap. I think the most I paid was maybe, I think I may have paid 15 bucks for the Rebel that I have. This one came in a box of camera stuff that I bought for like 5 bucks at a tag sale. No lens. I had to buy the lens. The lenses are, I think I paid another $10 or $15 for a working lens. And it's a very good lens too. And it has, you can set this thing for 35, 50, or 80 millimeter, which is kind of a neat feature. It has automatic focus and manual focus. When I store this, I always put it on manual focus just in case somebody gets to, or myself mostly, messes around with the camera, with the focus ring. There's a lot of little stuff in there that can get screwed up pretty easy if somebody absent-mindedly grabs this thing by its lens and twists it and tweaks it. But these are great. If you just want to go, point, and shoot, this is the thing. It's got more features than you're ever going to use, and most of them, you know, the manual is 150 pages or something like that. It's crazy. These are terrific cameras. This and the Rebel too. The Rebel's a little bit different. It has a wheel on it similar to this with little pictographs that tells you where you're set at and what you want to do. Really, there's not a lot of useful features, I think, in a practical way, other than this one. That little icon there is for multiple exposures. It'll shoot a frame and a half or 2 frames a second, whatever it is. As long as you hold the button, it'll keep shooting. It's got the partial, I don't know what it's called, the partial metering light meter, which is this button on this camera, although the little icon has worn off over the years. That's kind of neat. Auto load, auto rewind. The 650 itself is a big tank of a camera. It's big, it's heavy, it's got a lot of stuff packed into it, and it's very, very easy to use. Feels good in my hands. I didn't spend a lot of time reading about all the features. I really don't care. I use this when I don't want to work for it. All I got to do is point and shoot. I turn this thing to fully automatic. I give the go button, the release button. Now it's telling me that I don't have enough light here. Oops, automatic focus. And it just does it all for you. And it's really great when you just want to point and shoot. I got some great shots during the fair with this camera that I could never have gotten with any of my Pentax cameras, because they're relics. They really are. As much as I love the Spotmatics and the K1000s, you have to really love the craft. As much as I do, I also like getting the shot. And sometimes it's just easier, more fun, and convenient to pick up one of these old-time do-it-all cameras and just point and click. I don't know what else to say. I just wanted to throw that out there. I didn't get to do the video I wanted to, like I said. I still am going to do a video on soldering up new battery packs, although I'm only going to do it because I said I'm going to do it. As fate would have it, the 2 working Strobinar 700 series flashes that I had that were working decided not to work, and that's the drawback to buying this antique stuff. You know, I've got half a dozen Strobinar flashes, all in more or less the same condition. One looks like it was never even out of the box. Batteries are always no good in those things. The capacitors may or may not be good. I found out through searching that the capacitors, those big capacitors that are in the handle of the Strobinar 6, 7, and I think the 800 series are purpose-built, one-of-a-kind, no longer produced. Uh, I'm sure an electronics guy could probably work his way around that. I am not that guy, so I'm kind of stuck. They're going to be display pieces. I've got another one that I'm going to show in a later video. Uh, it's the Strobonar D-Pack for the Strobonar 7 flash, which is very cool. It also does not work, but it's just a cool piece of history. In its day, it was cutting edge. That would have been in the early 60s. And it doesn't work, and I'm okay with that. I paid nothing for it, and it's in almost museum quality condition. Looks like it might not have ever have been used, but the thing's 50 years old. It's as old as I am, maybe even a little bit older. And there again, you know, this is the late 80s. Most of my Pentax are early to middle 60s. The K1000s, of course, came out later. So in my lifetime, I've seen, you know, these big, heavy, bulky manual cameras with their big, heavy, bulky flashes be reduced down to cell phone size. And you can do, I've even got an app on my phone that'll make ghost images. It'll put a ghost in any picture you want. And I've seen that just in the last few years. It's amazing, the technological advancements. But that's not what I really wanted to talk about. I just wanted to talk about when you just want to point and shoot film. I prefer film. Digital is great if you like it, but nothing is ever going to replace film for me. If you're not, in my opinion, has always been, if you're not shooting film, you're not really taking pictures, and that's just my opinion. But if you want to just go out and use up film and not think about it, I would recommend an EOS. These are just great cameras. I got them dirt cheap. There's a zillion of them out there. They're not worth anything anymore. This technology is so old. I was in high school, or just out of high school, when these things were new. So that was that. And even